Hello, Renee here from Scrappy Ray Paper Crafts. I'm going to show you 3 unique cards using this Starstruck embossing folder, which is free through February 28th in our Sale A Bration with a qualifying purchase. I'll give you more details on that and how to receive kits to make 6 of these cards further in the video. So we're going to use the Grateful Blessing sentiments. I'm going to show you how to cover up the For Your Prayers if you choose not to use this next piece. The Thoughtful Moments, I'm using the Thank You. If you do not have this folder, you can cover up the Thank You or cover up the For Your Prayers so that just the Thank You is showing, unless you want it to be For Your Prayers. The nice thing about this is that it's embossing, die cutting, or you can put it together and have it emboss and die cut at the same time. We're going to use the Everyday Arches, the Spotlight on Nature, and then we're going to use white, Daffodil Delight, and Crumb Cake ink, rhinestones, a brayer. You do not have to have a brayer. I'll show you an alternative if you do not have a brayer. And then I'm using the dark Daffodil Delight and the dark Cherry Cobbler to color my rhinestones so that they match my cards. I already put on a few layers. The more layers you add, the darker it'll be. Just let it dry in between application. And you're just going to very lightly go over your rhinestones, however many you want colored. You could also do this with the matte gems. It doesn't have to be just the rhinestones. And you could do it on ribbon as well. So you want to be careful that you don't apply too much pressure when you're coloring, or you will ruin the tip of your marker. My tip is ruined, but it's not from the gems, it's from something else. Then we're going to set that aside to dry. While it's drying, we're going to bring in things I've already cut and embossed. So I cut out the Thank You already, put a little bit of adhesive on the back to hold it in place, and then I have to run this through the embossing folder. I want to run it through dry, and then I'll show you how to run one through wet. So we'll start with the dry one. I'm going to put it in, and then usually with the embossing folder you can choose which side you want to display. But this folder, it just doesn't look right with the stars on the bottom. So I put it upright, and then I want my stars to be somewhat in order, so I'm lining it up with this black mark down here. We'll run this through. While I have it up here, I'll go ahead and run my wet one through. And what I mean by wet, you'll see why I did this one first. I'm going to take my ink pad, I'm going to open it up, and I'm just going to start applying even pressure all over this embossing folder, right? So see how I've got all that ink showing up? And you want to make sure that you don't have any lines, because those lines will appear in your folder. So once you have a good even amount, whoop, well, the nice thing is that will just wipe right off. So get my chamois and wipe it off. Today is my day of errors. Do you ever have days like that where no matter how hard you try, something goes wrong? Well, that would be today for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of Night of Navy, and this one is also cut at 3 3/4 by 5, but I'm going to put it on the bottom. I don't want to put it on there because I'll smear my ink. And then I want my stars to be sort of at an angle, so I'm going to turn my paper a little ways, but I want to make sure that it's still within the embossing area. I'll set it down here, close my folder, and then put my top piece on and run it through. Oh, I already see an issue. See, I told you. Today is my day of problems. I did not ink high enough up, so let me go back over that higher up. Glad I caught that before I ran it through. And I'm just going to flip it over since it already picked up ink. I'll flip it over and use the back side. Let's try this again. flip it over this way. Okay. There we go. Now it's covered. Put that in. And then we're going to set this aside to dry. And see what it did? It made the background. It added the color to the background, which is what I wanted. This is easy to clean. You can just run it under water, or you can use the stamp cleaner sold by Stampin' Up. So now we're going to come back to the yellow piece that I embossed. I want to put a little bit of adhesive on this to hold it too. My tape runner's not cooperating today. All right. So put this on here. If you have a steady hand, which those of you who watch me know that my hand is not steady, you can take your ink pad and just lightly pull it across your paper to get the image, to get the white covered. I do not have that steady hand, so I'm going to use my brayer, and somehow my hair got in it. Told you, this is the day of errors. So I'm going to roll this across and see how just the raised area is picking up the ink. That's what we want. So with the blue one, we inked the folder so that the back of the folder was covered. Here we want the front. So you see that the stars are covered, and you can turn your paper in different directions to get full coverage. It just makes them look springy. I think it went from stars to daisies, even though the centers are still star-shaped. And then you're going to do the same thing with the thank you after I get my hair out of the way. And it's okay if it gets in between the word there. That's just from using too much pressure. Okay, then we want to set these aside to dry. If you're using a brayer, it has these little feet that you can prop it up. Okay, so while these are drying, we'll go ahead and do another card. So do you see the difference between these two? The white ended up in the background here, and then in the foreground here. All right, so we'll pull in my next card. And what I did with this one is I used the Country Woods DSP, and I cut it by 4 5 1/4. And what I liked about running it through the embossing folder was here it looks like wood, right? But once I ran it through the embossing folder, it changed. It looks more like denim with the frayed edges. So just a fun way to change the look of your paper. Inexpensive, quick and easy way. And I'm literally just going to attach this to the front of the card. Again, I'm going to be very generous with my tape because the paper is so soft after you run it through the folder. And then we'll put this on. Then I used the 5th largest Everyday Arches. I went ahead and die cut these ahead so that you wouldn't have to watch me die cut. I used that one. And I'm going to use the crumb cake. You could use the basic beige. This is basic beige paper, but the crumb cake will stand out more. So I'm going to put on here, thank you for your prayers. Center this on here. I want it towards this end because I'm going to use the thread, linen thread, to tie a knot. So that's all the stamping for this card. Then I'm going to take the linen thread, I'm going to wrap it around a few times. And then I'm just going to tie a knot. I want this to be very basic. And I always wait until I'm finished making my knot or my bow to cut my thread. That way I'm not wasting any. So sometimes I do end up having to cut more anyway. Like here, I'll have to cut this part off, maybe. And then just cut these. I'm going to use dimensionals to pop it up. Again, I'll use 5, 1 in each corner and then 1 in the middle. This is just another really quick card. You could use the matte sequins. I don't think the rhinestones would look right. It would take away from the rustic look of this. Then this is just going to go right here. Like I said, if you wanted, you could put rhinestones up here, but I like just the simple look of it. So there's this card. And then for our last card, for our next card, we're going to take this white and we're going to attach the Knight of Navy to it. This white is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And again, I'm being very generous with my tape runner, going around all the edges. I'll have to backtrack on that side. There we go. I'm going to center this on here. I like to look at the bottom and line up the 3 sides, and if it's even all the way around, then I know that it will be on the top too. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put tape on here. My tape runner is really not cooperating today. Maybe it's user error. I'm forgetting to pull back instead of lifting up. And again, I'm going to center it on here. Then I want to take that thank you. I'm going to pop it up with dimensionals. I'm going to use the mini dimensionals. They'll hide better, and I can be more generous with the placements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I want this sort of down in the center. Again, I want to display the background. It's so pretty. Now I'm going to take the gems that I colored earlier, and again, I'm using 5 of them, and I'll use the stars as my guide for placement of these gems. And they just really pop against this Knight of Navy paper. And I think this one I'll put on this star right here. There we go. There's another card. Completely different look. And now for the final card. Again, I have a piece of white. The white is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And I'm going to bring in the yellow that we colored a minute ago, where we took the brayer over top of it. I'm going to be generous with my tape, going all the way around the edges. Yeah, see, it was user error. And then we'll center it on the white. These 3 cards are part of my promotion. If you make a qualifying purchase of $50 using the host code that I'll have in the comments, then I will send you all of the materials to make 6 cards that will include all of the die cut shapes, all of the embossing, with the exception of the Knight of Navy. That one needs to be embossed in front of you so that you can put the ink on it. And then all of your die cut pieces will be provided, and the linen thread and the rhinestones. All of that will be provided. You'll just need to have an embossing folder and your stamps. And the fun part about having to have your own stamps is that you can change the sentiment to be whatever you want it to be. So we have that on there. This card is going to go this way. So I need to stamp this image, and for that one I'm going to use You Are Such a Blessing. I thought about doing it in black, make it look like a sunflower kind of Black-Eyed Susan thing, but I didn't. but it is an option. You could also color the rhinestones black to make them pop. And the nice thing about having a circle is you do not have to worry about being straight with your sentiment. And then let it sit on there for a minute, because the clear photopolymer stamps take a little bit to release the ink. It's last for that one. And then again, dimensionals to pop it up. You could take some black baker's twine and put behind this circle to make it pop. I'm not doing that. I'm just gonna keep it springy and bright and cheery with all of my white and yellow. That one doesn't want to come off. There we go. And I'm going to put this down in the center and come back in with my yellow rhinestones that we colored at the beginning. Put those in. And that's it. You have just completed 3 unique cards using the same folder. Let's see. Put one there. And then right there. There you have it. So we have this one where we used the brayer, or you can lightly pull your stamp pad across to just ink the raised area. We have this one where we put ink on the embossing folder to change the background area. And then this one, we didn't use any ink. We simply ran it through the machine to change the look of the paper. So again, you can get these cards free with qualifying purchase using my link in the comments. If you like this video, please like it, give it a thumbs up, comment on it. If you like my videos, you're welcome to follow my page. Come visit me at Scrappy Ray Paper Crafts for more tips, tricks, and ideas. Thank you, and have a great day.